Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. My name's Morgan Colby. I got Rick Lemon with me as always.
Still in the bunker, kind of.
Still,
you have not left this room in 2 months.
You left your house today for the first time.
I did actually, yeah.
In probably eons would be my guess.
I forgot what the air felt like. I forgot what the sun looked like. Forgot what the sky looked like. It's a pleasant surprise.
It still all exists.
It's still out there, believe it or not.
It is Thursday, April 16th, one solid week away from what we call the NFL freaking draft.
Dang.
So does everyone else. Everyone else calls it that too.
Time is flying.
Yes, sir. We got a lot to get to in this episode. We're going to start off with a quick question and then jump right into our last six tight ends of our early ranking, the final episode of our early rankings. And then next week, I think we got some draft content, I believe.
Yeah.
So before we get into the question, check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter at @TheFFChamps, on Instagram at @TheFantasyChampions. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheFantasyChampions. Subscribe wherever you listen and leave a review. Also, on if you're watching on YouTube, there's links to our personal Twitter accounts. You can follow those, get helpful information about fantasy football all year round.
Correct. I think you did pretty good.
The pause. It's like when you watch the news.
I know.
And there's like a local interview, and this is.
We have Rick on the scene. Rick, what can you say about this?
Yeah. So at the exact same time, both stop. Interviews, man. Interviews. I don't even know, to be honest with you. I mean, we're in the same town recording this, so I guess that helps. But we're successfully Zoom calling each other and not having any delay, and the news stations can't figure it out. So,
yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. So let's start off with a quick question. Spend a couple minutes on it, and then we will jump right into our tight end rankings. I don't know how close yours look to mine. Don't know at all. We'll see. But anyway, the quick question to start the show. If you had to choose, you were sitting there thinking, you're like, you know what, this year I'm just going to forsake the fantasy champion strategy. I'm just going to get rid of it and say goodbye. And I'm going to draft a quarterback or a tight end early. Which one would you rather draft early?
For me personally, I'm rather drafting a quarterback.
Okay.
Because I think if you have a Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes, if you had a Patrick Mahomes from 2018 or a Lamar Jackson from 2019, right. Your chances of winning goes up extremely high. Okay. Because those types of players just have dominant fantasy seasons, head and shoulders above everybody else. And your chances of getting that guy is not high, which is why I don't recommend doing it in like the first few rounds. But I mean, I would rather take a chance on like a Lamar or a Patrick Mahomes than a guy like Travis Kelce, who I know is going to be good. But as we talked about on our last show, he's not going to be any better than the 10th wide receiver.
Everyone's generally pretty close to each other, too, for tight ends. So, after Kelce and Kittle, it's kind of a hodgepodge of tight ends. And,
it really is.
You really don't, unless you draft one of those top two guys early, and you're one of the two teams that did that, there's really no other options. So you might as well just draft one late. For the quarterback, I don't know how I would approach this, because I really believe in drafting quarterbacks and the ability to stream. So I think I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I think I would rather draft a tight end early, and here's why.
Okay.
The difficulty of finding a good tight end is a lot, and streaming tight ends for that matter, is a lot harder than it is for quarterbacks. So for me, I would rather stream quarterbacks than tight ends. And so if I can lock down a really good tight end early, I would rather do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Although last year we saw 3 top 10 tight ends on the waiver wire at a time.
Is that
Mark
a
Andrews
trend,
in the beginning of the
though?
season.
I'm not sure that's a
Darren
trend.
Waller, too. Austin Hooper.
Right.
Hunter Henry.
It's
Like,
tough.
They were guys. Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, so it depends. It depends on the league too. Like for our league, we're a weird league. We have 6-point touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean 5-point touchdowns.
Which
not
makes
6
quarterbacks.
We're in the middle of 4 and
valuable.
6. Yeah, if you're a 6, then quarterback should be drafted in like the first round.
Right.
Score 40 touchdowns. 6 point. Yeah, it just.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it is.
But our league is like in between the 4-point and the 6-point. We're at 5 points, so it's like kind of very much in the middle. But it is a little bit more valuable. But I think there's a lot more because the position is so deep. You really don't have to have one of those guys. But if you're stuck in a position where you weren't smart enough to pick up Mark Andrews and Darren Waller last year, right? And you were stuck with Jared Cook or somebody, who ended up being like the tight end 9 or 10, and you had to stream the whole season.
OJ Howard.
Yeah, OJ Howard. And you had to stream the tight end position the whole season. Then you kind of have problems there. So it's tough. It's tough to break down, but I think I would rather have a tight end just because it's a lot less deep of a position.
Yeah, I mean, I get the argument. It's also Travis Kelce is the closest thing to a guarantee.
Yeah.
I think if I'd rather do the 2, I'd rather go for a guy who I think could win a league.
Fair.
Which I think Lamar and Mahomes can. I don't think Kelce can.
Makes sense. Let's jump into our tight end rankings.
I
didn't want to sound too excited about it.
Let's jump into our tight end rankings.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Next week, Tuesday, is the coaches show. And
is it?
Yeah, we're going to talk about coaches finally. Feels like we should have talked about that like months ago.
I thought we did.
No, I don't think so. Did we? Maybe we did.
I think we did.
I don't know. I have to look. But anyway, it doesn't sound like it's a super exciting episode.
I thought we were doing 2
honest.
draft shows next week.
NFL
stuff.
We might be. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't know.
We'll let you guys know as soon as it happens. But anyway, let's jump into our tight end rankings. There was something that I wanted to note for the news that we'll probably talk about more in detail next week, but now I can't remember what it was. So if by the time this comes out to be actual news, it would be rather interesting. But so there was a report that you sent to me earlier last week, or no, maybe it was yesterday. Was it yesterday?
I don't know what report
it's about
you're
Odell.
about. Oh, that was yesterday.
So it was a blue check mark, which you would assume, hey, this is actually good information. It's a blue check mark. Said that Odell Beckham is going to be traded to the Vikings. They're in conversation for a 2nd and a 5th round pick. And so there's
Colin Cowherd also said that that's what he was hearing too, but nothing like official. But he thinks that they're very interested in trading him.
So
and the Vikings are interested in him.
This could mean one of two things. Could mean that that the Vikings really aren't the landing spot. It's just kind of like a report that that the Browns are putting out there saying, "Hey, he's available."
Yeah.
Or it could be a legitimate report, but everyone's like, "Oh, Odell's not getting traded to the Vikings." So
it's mixed. They talked about it on First Take though too, so it is like a legitimate rumor.
We will keep you updated with that. If he went to the Vikings, do you like that?
Kirk Cousins is so bland. Where it's like,
yeah, but I think Odell's better than Stefon Diggs.
I think it's better than Cleveland.
Right.
But it's still not like it's still not going to maximize his full potential, I don't think.
Right. I don't know.
But so it's not awful.
I mean, I like it. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
the rest of the world don't like it. I don't know why I'm holding a clip. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm just holding like a bag clip. Oh my God.
And then drop the stuff you do in quarantine.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I wouldn't mind it. Like, I think Minnesota's an okay spot.
Yeah.
It's just Kirk Cousins is just like, I'm kind of over him as a quarterback.
Yeah,
for fantasy. Like
it took you one.
for
It took
wide
you one
receivers.
season because like 2 years ago you loved him. You were like, dude, this guy gets 4,000 yards and like 30 touchdowns every season, and now you're like off the boat.
I know, fantasy wise.
You're like, see ya. No want nothing to do with this guy.
I mean, if he had Odell, maybe.
Yeah.
Because Odell is better than Diggs, but it's not like it's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there's better spots out there for him. But good.
Yeah.
It's an upgrade. It would be an upgrade.
Definitely. So let's jump into this. Don't want to spend too long on these tight ends. Sure. Keep the show short. Enjoy your weekend, friends. Being locked in a house.
Yeah.
So let's talk about. I think 7 and 8 we both have swapped. So
we do.
I'll give you my 7 and 8. You can give your 7 and 8. We'll discuss it. So I have Austin Hooper 7 and Hunter Henry 8, and you have.
I have Henry 7 and then Austin Hooper 8.
Okay, so I have some concerns with Hunter Henry, and which is why I put him at 8 and I put Hooper over him. Now Hooper is in Cleveland. To be honest with you, I wanna rank him like 13. Can I do that? Wherever David Njoku landed last year, just put him there. I don't like Austin Hooper this year. Just because of especially if we were just, touching on the Odell thing. If Odell stays there, it's going to be tough for me specifically to see Austin Hooper having a really great season. But the main reason why I put Hunter Henry behind Austin Hooper is because his quarterback's Tyrod Taylor. Even if it's Tua, I'm not excited. Like or Justin Herbert. I don't care. It's not Phillip Rivers anymore. It's not a quarterback that can move the ball down the field, at least in a proven fashion. So whatever they have at quarterback is going to be tough for Hunter Henry. He deals with injuries on a regular basis. So for me, it's going to be tough for me to look at Hunter Henry and say, okay, this guy can be, a top 6, top 5 tight end this year. And I love Hunter Henry, but I think the offense itself is just not going to be good next year.
So for me, like these two guys, like I like both of these guys as players, but they could both easily fall back for me.
Fall completely off the board.
Yeah, it was hard to even put Henry and Hooper that high.
Yeah,
but I think Henry's still talented enough where, if Tyrod Taylor's there, his production is not going to be the same.
Right,
and I don't think he's going to be a top 5 tight end.
Okay,
but my thing is I think he'll still get enough targets and enough receptions.
Fair,
where he'll be ahead of Hooper. Where I don't know. It's a tough spot. If Odell stays, you have so many weapons, and Njoku is still there too. Like they're gonna still use Njoku. I think Hooper's he's gonna get involved a little bit. I don't think it's enough where he's also a top 5 tight end. I mean, both these guys are just the hype for them is so much lower than I had last year.
Yeah.
And
oh, dude, we loved Njoku.
I really wouldn't I really wouldn't want either of these guys on my team, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest with you. When I did my rankings, I automatically put Hunter Henry in the top 4. And
did you?
Just
and
like
you just kept dropping him.
Force of hand, yeah. And then as I was going through the list, he kept on going down. So honestly, you're right. Like these guys are probably going to land in the exact same spot with the exact same spot. With the same amount of fantasy points. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think, it's not, we're not going to sit here and yell at each other over one spot.
No.
But I want to believe that I like who's the better tight end?
Like football wise?
And just, in real life.
I think Hunter Henry, but it's close.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with where you ranked him. I just don't like the fact that Tyrod Taylor is his quarterback.
No, I don't like it either, but I think that situation.
Like if they signed Cam Newton.
Yeah, which I don't think they're gonna.
I don't know if that would, or Jameis Winston even. I don't know if that would help.
I think it would, but it wouldn't. Like he'd still probably be 7.
Yeah.
For me at least, I don't think it would move him crazy.
Right. Yeah. So Austin Hooper 7, Hunter Henry 8. You have Henry 7.
Henry's
Hooper's 8. Wow.
Henry 7, Hooper 8.
I just kept on wanting to say the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the next guy that you have.
Sure.
A little bit. I don't know if these rankings that you sent me are up to date here because you said you were going to change them.
No, they're up to date.
Okay. So I have the Hawk 9.
I have Noah Fant
9.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about TJ Hawkinson at number 9. Now, why not rank him higher? That's my question. Because you love the Hawk.
I mean, I have him 3 spots higher than consensus. Yeah, I mean, well, so for me,
the consensus on Hawk is like 15, right?
Yeah, it's like 15. Yeah,
that sucks, dude.
I love Hawk. I think Hawk.
People don't know what they're doing,
and I am probably gonna move TJ Hawkinson up a little bit,
right?
But I like Noah Fant more right now because of what they did last year and what their situations look like for this year. Hawkinson had an okay season last year. He had a couple drops though. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, he didn't have Matt Stafford the whole season,
right?
For even half the season. But year 2, the improvement. I love Hawk. Don't get me wrong. He's somebody I probably really want on my team. But for me, Noah Fant, like when Drew Lock came in, he had 2 huge games.
Really?
You remember that? Remember those? He had like the 2 touchdown game.
Oh, shoot.
And I think week 13. Yeah, you remember the team, the Cobras. You know the Cobras in our league.
Mm-hmm.
He had Noah Fant for a while.
Dude, who does
at the end
that?
of the season? Yeah, but he was good
Rookie
last
tight
year.
Ends, baby.
When Drew Lock came in, and now you're going into year 2, the Broncos didn't really add any receivers. Yeah. It's Cortland Sutton, and I think Noah Fant's the second guy in the passing game, unless you count Melvin Gordon.
Right.
But I think Noah Fant, the opportunity is there. What he did last year was, I think, better than Hawkinson. So you add those 2 things in. I really love Noah Fant. No Fant, whatever you want to say. But I think he's going to have a big year.
Font, don't matter. See, now, I actually think you could probably put Noah Fant 9 and 10. Hawkinson and Fant 9 and 10, sorry.
Yeah.
I think they're just that close. I have you like Drew Lock. I have my concerns
like Drew Lock.
With Drew Lock.
I think that's the difference between our Noah Fant take and our Cortland Sutton takes.
Yeah, that one quarterback. Now, I mean, he could be good. I don't dislike Drew Lock. I just don't see him as, like, watching him in the games that I watched last year, I don't see him as this prolific, high-level passer that's going to get a guy like Noah Fant or Cortland Sutton. Like, Sutton I could see having success this year, but I don't see him getting Fant enough work even to have a huge season. Now, one of the things I like to do is ask the question of where are they on the read chart? You know what I mean? Like if you're in an offense, how many targets down does the quarterback have to look before they decide, hey, I'm going to throw it here?
Yeah.
And so for me, you got Cortland Sutton, and then I probably would say Noah Fant, right? Would that be?
I think he's number 2. Yeah.
So that's fair. That's a fair assessment. And then for Hawkinson, I think he's probably the 3rd guy.
He's probably the 3rd guy, yeah.
But the difference between Hawkinson and Fant, and the reason why I put him a little higher than you did, is because I think Hawkinson, last year, he should have had multiple monstrous games, but he just dropped touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a long-term concern, like he just can't catch. He's got rock hands.
Or is his rookie season?
Or it's just his rookie season, and that's what happens when you're a rookie.
Yeah.
So we'll see that this year. But the reason why I like TJ Hawkinson, I actually might even move him up higher as I go along. I don't know if I'll do that. That might be too much. But anyway.
I mean, he could. I think both these guys, like I think Fant and Hawkinson can both move up to like 7th by the time the draft comes around.
Yeah, no.
7 among tight ends.
That's fair. But I think Hawkinson is definitely going to be, like, Hawkinson and Fant probably will be massive red zone targets, would be my assumption if you were talking about where they were going to get targeted mostly. But my question is to you, like, who scores more points this year? The Broncos or the Lions?
Oh, so yeah, I think the Lions.
So if the Lions are in the red zone a lot more and TJ Hawkinson gets more red zone targets, I think that he probably will score more touchdowns than Fant.
Sure.
And ultimately finish higher than him. I actually think TJ Hawkinson, this could be his breakout season where he could jump into the top 5. The only reason why I didn't rank him in the top 5 is because I don't want to be hyperbolic on TJ Hawkinson. He's going to be a guy I draft in 10 to 15 if he's available there, and I'll be very much happy with it. I unfortunately, I don't know that that's going to happen just because people are stupid. They ruin my fantasy drafts every single year. But I think the name will get him into different locations, in the draft. He'll probably be like 7th rounder, 8th rounder. I'll actually look that up while you're giving your thoughts on what I just said.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand the point. The Lions do have probably a better offense. I think Matt Stafford is a better quarterback. But I think there's like Golden Tate and Marvin Jones get a lot of looks in that offense.
Right.
And Kerryon Johnson gets a lot of looks too in the passing game. So I think Hawkinson's definitely going to be used. He might have more touchdowns than Noah Fant by a little bit. But I think
Hawkinson, 7th rounder, late 7th, Fant, early 8th.
Yeah, so they're right next to each other.
Right next to each other.
Where's that tight ends off the board?
9th and 10th.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a
right spot. Where we ranked them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a good spot.
My question is like for Fant and Hawkinson. I think we both can agree they're kind of in the same area.
Yeah.
I would not argue with you if you moved up Hawkinson. You can do it right now if you want.
I did. I have him 10. I have Font 9, Hawk 10.
Okay, good. So if are you willing to draft these guys in that position right now, or do you want to take a look at somebody who's a little bit further down the board?
I want those guys, and those are the tight ends I probably want for this season.
Yeah.
8th round, though, is like 7th, 8th round is still like a tad high. I would hope one of them falls to like the 9th round where I can snag them. But yeah, I mean, 8th round, I think I'd be willing to take one in the 8th round.
Okay. Sounds good. So we just talked about your 9th, and you know what? I have Noah Fant 11th, so I'm gonna keep Fant at 11. But there's one guy that you ranked a little bit lower. So we're gonna talk about I think 3 more guys. So let's start with Higbee. You have Higbee where?
So I actually moved him on my list. He's 12.
Okay, I have him 12th as well. So let's talk about that because I do want to touch on Jared Cook and then the one guy you have in yours rankings.
Yeah,
it's not in mine.
Sure.
So Higbee, we both have him at 12. I think for obvious reasons. Last year I talked about the Rams not targeting the tight end position all that often. And I think that the concerns for me started with, obviously the fact that the history of what's his name, Sean McVay, and his offenses were trended towards never throwing it to the tight end. And then last year, I don't know what they did, why they did it, how they did it, what changed their mind. They started throwing to the tight end position. And it wasn't just one guy. It was like multiple players.
Gerald Everett,
Tyler Higbee. So Higbee, great tight end. I think he's talented. I think he's really good. And he's coming off an injury, which is also something to note too. But the concern for me with Tyler Higbee, and I think people are going to get really excited about him, and I think the Rams are going to go back to their ways of not throwing it to the tight end, honestly. I put Tyler Higbee 12 because I think that's probably a safe bet. 12 to 15 would be a safe area for him. If you think that he's going to be this guy that ascends into, they still got Cooper Kupp. They still have Robert Woods, right?
Yeah.
They love to throw the running back, whoever it is. And I think whoever that may be is probably going to be more talented than Tyler Higbee, to be honest with you. But I think that he's probably the 4th or 5th guy. And I just don't see him being that in that offense. Like you look at Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper was the 4th or 5th guy to start the season, right? In the reads. And he was able to have a really good season. But I think that's just because Atlanta throws the ball an absurd amount. Are the Rams going to throw the ball as much as the Falcons do? No. So I think Higbee had a flash season. I think, the tight ends of the Rams had a flash season. I think they're just going to completely collapse and fall apart. To be honest with you, I'll tell you not to draft Tyler Higbee, but I'm putting him 12.
Wow. See, I think Tyler Higbee has a chance to move up a little bit just because
he's going in the 12th round, by the way. If you cared.
Yeah, like that's a good spot for him. And like I understand the Rams.
Yeah.
How they don't throw to tight. I agree with you. They typically don't throw to tight ends.
Right.
But like with Brandon Cooks gone, I think Tyler Higbee is probably the 3rd option. Debatable 4th, I think. Like you said, whoever the running back is.
Yeah.
But they did try to throw it to the tight ends a little bit more, and it worked when they did. So I think they might move to that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think typically they don't they might throw the ball also more this year than they have in the past because they don't have a Todd Gurley anymore running back, and they're paying Jared Goff all this money. They might be like, well, like you're the head guy in the offense.
So this is part of the problem with rankings before the draft. Obviously, I love to do the rankings before the draft just to get a picture of what an offense might look like.
Their early rankings, yeah.
I honestly think, very early. By the time the season starts, these will change dramatically. These will change dramatically next Thursday night. But I think for me, if the Rams draft a running back, which is very likely, then I would think, and there's plenty of guys to do that in this draft. I would think that the Rams have an opportunity. Like if they draft like a Swift or a Jonathan Taylor, then you would think that the Rams are probably that guy's probably going to be targeted in the offense a lot more than Higbee is. But we don't even know if Higbee's going to be the guy at tight end.
No, yeah, that is a legit concern.
I just don't know. I think as much as people want to like Higbee, it's going to be a concern.
He's got good potential. Like if everything goes right, he could legitimately be like a top 7, top 6 tight end.
Can I move Higbee down? I'll just leave him at 12 for now.
Talking yourself out of it.
Yeah, talking myself out of it. I just don't like Tyler Higbee. Let's talk about the two guys that we didn't, and then we'll conclude the show. Running out of time here, so
yeah, sure.
I was gonna move the guy that you have at what is it? I
have him 11.
11. I was gonna move him up to 12, but I don't know if I'll do that. So right now, I think I have what's his name? OJ Howard, who is your 11th guy. I think I have him 13th. Mm-hmm. And then you have...
I think I have Cook 13.
Jared Cook 13, and I have Jared Cook 10. Now, just a defense of my Jared Cook take really fast.
Sure.
I like Jared Cook. I always kind of have, and I think he worked in the Saints offense last year very well. I think that with Drew Brees back, nothing really changes, and I think that he's going to put up, when you're talking about 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th tight end, you're either shooting in the dark with you're either shooting in the dark with a guy that you don't really know much about in terms of tight ends, or you're getting a guy who is going to get you like more than 5 fantasy points a week.
Right.
So. I think for me, Jared Cook is a guy that can get you 5, 6, 7 fantasy points a week. Keep that consistent so that you're not picking up a guy who gives you like 2 fantasy points, and then you keep cycling tight ends in who give you 2 fantasy points.
Yeah.
So Cook is more of a trustworthy option at 10. But I think for me, that's probably the only reason why he's there. And then as far as OJ Howard, to me, I think that OJ Howard, I like OJ Howard. There's rumors floating around. We'll probably talk about this on Tuesday that the Buccaneers are trying to trade OJ Howard. Don't know why.
There's also rumors that Gronk is going to replace him.
Oh my God. Never mind. So if OJ Howard starts the season as Tom Brady's tight end, I actually do like him, and I will take him a little bit later. OJ Howard right now in the 9th round, that sounds really good to me. So I'll do that. But outside, like for me right now, the uncertainty surrounding OJ Howard, I'm just going to put him at 13. He'll probably move up to like 10th if he sticks as the starting tight end.
OJ Howard last year, it's funny. I absolutely hated him all year. By the end of the season, I was
loved him in the preseason.
Disgusting. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's why I hated him so much, because he burned me.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady loves to throw to tight ends, and he's a very talented tight end. Yeah. I think it could be a change of scenery and a very good thing for OJ Howard, which is why I think I put him in the top 12. And for Jared Cook, the only reason I have him 13 is just he did. You're right. He did work well and better than I thought in that Saints system.
Right.
But he's injury prone. He's going to be 34 years old when the season starts. They also added Emmanuel Sanders.
Right.
I think it's just trending down for Jared Cook right now and trending up for OJ Howard.
Yep, sounds good to me. And so there you go. That's it. That's all we got for tight ends.
Tight ends.
Next week,
most exciting position in fantasy football.
Next week, I don't know what we're talking about. Honestly, don't.
No, I don't either.
I'll let you know. We'll figure it out. Don't forget to check out our website at thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you hit up Adam Hutchison's article this week, next week, and forever. Talk to you on Tuesday, Fantasy Champs.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at the FF Champs.